too fast. I'm taking 3.
I'm going for the singles now.
Oh no!
Son of a bitch.
You get your 2?
Yeah. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thotgor here, of course, and today we're going to take a look at 3 different team battles. Yes, I played these team battles last night with my team. Wargaming HAX is the Wargaming HAX best HAX, we should say. And you can see on the team we have a few notable characters. So the first one you'll notice was Hellish Yoda. Now he is from Reddit. We've got Brain Cage from Twitch. We've got Stupor Dave, he's a super tester. We have Majesh from Twitch, OGisms from Twitch, we have Q, who is from Wargaming, and of course myself from YouTube. So this should be interesting. Now hopefully you all had a chance last night to check out the stream. The stream itself runs every Friday from 7 p.m. Eastern till 9 p.m. Eastern. Now 9 p.m. Eastern is the time that is noted that the stream will end. However, typically we do end up going towards 10 p.m. Eastern, right? Because usually there's a lot more people who jump in and watch the stream later on in the evening. So we usually run till 10 p.m. Eastern, and that's what we ended up doing last night as well. On top of that, if you can see there in the comment section, little battle chat Q had mentioned, if you do manage to find us in battle, and if you win, every member of your team will get 500 gold. If you lose, every member of your team will get 250 gold. If you are streaming the battle, then you will get double the gold. All you have to do is send Nico Power a message on the forums with your VOD and the time of the battle, and he's going to go ahead and credit you double the gold, depending on whether you won or lost. Most likely you lost. Last night we played, I think, a total of 12 or 13 games. We won all of them except the last game. The last game we did a little bit of fun, and we we all went out in cruisers. We all had Clevelands except for one Oba, and it didn't go so well. It could have went a whole lot better, I think, but we sort of got, caught up in the moment and just charged forward. Anyway, you can see here, I don't believe this is our first battle. This might have been the second or third, not 100% sure, but anyway, the whole strategy that we used the entire night was to get our destroyers up as quick as possible, right? Get them into the caps and cap the zones as quick as possible. Once the destroyers have capped the zones, then we take up defensive positions around usually one of the zones to hold it, to make sure we always have one. And then typically, as we're killing enemies and pushing them back, we are then able to focus on the second cap. That is usually what we do. My role in all of this, as being the Cleveland, is to provide AA support for the battleships, because you'll notice at this point in time we do not have Darren 22 in, and he was our carrier player. Darren is also a member of Club Wargaming, so he was with us last night as well, just not in this battle as of yet. So with no aircraft carrier, I am the AA support. Now I'm struggling a little with this role because typically I'm not used to playing American cruisers and being an AA escort, right? Usually I'm used to getting right in there and doing what I can, and you can see that in this battle. I'm just getting lucky right now, or rather my battleships, Hellish Yoda and Brain Cage, are getting lucky in that the enemy aircraft carrier planes only get so far. They find one of our destroyers and they start attacking the destroyers and don't actually go off the battleship, so that's pretty great. So you can see that we are still capping B. We're getting closer into capping B at this point in time. The enemies do have some ships off in the background who are attempting to put pressure on us. One thing you do want to be careful of in these team battles when you are playing a Cleveland, because the Cleveland at tier 6 is probably the best cruiser to take into a tier team battle, at least in my opinion, and I'm pretty sure that in Q's video, best ships for team battles, the Cleveland was also mentioned there. But that being said, the Cleveland is a huge target. If the enemy team knows anything at all, they are going to be focusing down me right away. And in fact, a lot of the battles last night, especially later on, as more people started to jump into the queue, and as of course our team was winning and moving up in the rankings, the smarter the enemy teams got, and the quicker I started to die immediately. And I mean, not really a surprise, actually. It's kind of nice to see, right? Because you can tell that as you're moving up in the ranking in these team battles, obviously the teams are getting more and more skilled. Now, in case you were wondering how we do the teams here, so every week, essentially, I'm pretty sure Q starts a new team, so that we start off at 4,000 points, which is the base amount of points, and then we work up from there typically, because typically we win, but we work up from there. And then what that does is it allows any new teams who are just sort of starting out in team battles, or maybe who haven't done as good in team battles, it allows those people to have a chance to play against us and win themselves some gold, regardless of whether or not they beat us, right? So you can see now we have B. We managed to secure it. We took out a cruiser and a destroyer in doing so. We're capping A, which is fantastic, because now we're about to have both caps. And I'm circling back in and around, sort of covering the Warspite here, but also off to the starboard side I've got Hellish, or no, that's not Hellish Yoda. Off to the starboard side in the Fuso, I've got Brain Cage. Hellish Yoda is in the Warspite on the port side. Not sure what this jump in around is, but whatever, it doesn't seem to go very long, so that's good. But anyway, now with Brain Cage off on the starboard side, he and I are going to push in right into here, into B, right? We're going to move in, we're going to help support the Oba, we can see him up there, Super Dave, and we're also going to start concentrating fire, focusing fire on any enemy targets that present themselves. That's another huge thing you really want to do when you're in these team battles. You have to focus fire because it's so critical to start getting enemy ships gone as quick as possible. Typically the biggest threat in a team battle that you're going to come across is either a Cleveland or the destroyers, right? So this is what you want to be focused on. The battleships in the background are a big threat, but they should not be the first targets you're firing at, unless of course it's the first target you actually have a good shot on. As soon as you see like a enemy cruiser or a destroyer pop up, you really want to switch over to that target and start taking him out, right? So we just took out the Ashan there, and that is actually all we needed to win. So there we go. We did manage to win a battle, which is not too shabby at all. In these team battles, though, because the team that I'm playing with, we're really skilled. No surprise there. The overall experience that I end up walking away with isn't a whole lot. Now, the main reason for that, of course, is, like I just said, the people I'm playing with are incredibly skilled. Plus, on top of that, I'm not playing a role in my cruiser where I'm getting right up into their face and, torping them, for example, if I was in a Japanese cruiser. Again, staying back by the battleships, typically only going at 3/4 speed to make sure I stay with my battleships and provide them the AA support that they need. So moving into the second battle, we can see it's already started here. We're on the same map in the Cleveland again, and we've got the same people with us as well. So pretty much we are going to be doing the same strategy here. We're going to, most of our ships are going to head towards B. Actually, no, most of our ships are going to head towards A this time, and then we're going to send one destroyer over to B to cap B. I believe one destroyer, because we also started sending like one destroyer in advance of the big ships, right? The cruisers and the battleships. You send one destroyer in advance of them, and that destroyer will cap the point for the cruisers and battleships, and then we were sending 2 destroyers off to the other cap. The idea there is that the 2 destroyers are going to be able to actually support each other, hopefully live longer, and actually take that cap. So you can see that's what we're doing right at this point in time. We've got 2 destroyers on their way over to B, and then we've got Q off in front of us, who is going to be, no, that's not Q, it's Ojizums, off in front of us, who is going to be taking A for us. So that is pretty great. Not too shabby at all. Get ourselves these points. Now, moving in a little closer as well, sort of at this point in time in the team battles, you expect to start seeing enemy ships, right? And we do start seeing enemy aircraft right away. So again, as the AA cruiser, it is totally my job to stick around the battleships and try to shoot down as many planes as possible, right? You can see that I am going to be sticking close to Brain Cage this battle, and we've got our Aoba, Super Dave, and he is over protecting Hellish Yoda in his Fuso. Is it still Hellish Yoda? It might be. I'm not sure. Anyway, so we've got both cruisers covering both battleships. You can see the 2 destroyers that we sent off over to B are actually managing to cap B, but they are spotted obviously because of the obviously because of the aircraft in the air. And then over at A, where we are headed, you can see that OGisms has found the enemy, right? The enemy the enemy team has decided that they are going to basically be doing the same strategy that we're doing. They sent a few destroyers over to B. The main bulk of their fleet is now at A. So we have to start doing something about these guys. And you can see that I'm trying to put shots into enemy destroyer that is just on the other side of the mountain. Unfortunately, I'm too close to the mountain at this point in time, so my shots are not going to go over. I do see a Cleveland off in the distance, so that Cleveland is a huge target. We're going to want to try and do something about this guy as quick as we possibly can, or at the very least just keep him out of position so he can't actually fire in on us. In the meantime, we're still going at 3/4 speed. We're still chugging along with our battleships here, trying to help these guys out and just make sure that any aircraft incoming are going to be rattled a little and hopefully get a few of them shot down as well. So shots go out on the Mitsuki. In these team battles, I really don't think the Japanese destroyers are well suited to these team battles at all. If I were to come into a team battle with a destroyer, it's going to be the Ashan, which I don't have, so I'm obviously not going to use that. But the Farragut. The Farragut is actually pretty damn great in these team battles, which is surprising. I'm not a huge fan of the Farragut, but it's probably just because I haven't played it a whole lot, right? That would make a whole lot of sense. So we can see OGisms off in the distance just got himself a kill on the enemy destroyer, so that's fantastic. So one enemy destroyer down. Unfortunately, Q, our destroyer, is down as well, so that's not so great, but whatever. We're still managing it, right? We did cap B, so we had the 2 caps for a little while. We are now we now have A as well, so we're about to get to cap parity. So once we get our bigger ships in here to B, we can start raining down shots on the enemies over there at B. Yes. So we can see torpedoes on the way in, so we know that there is an enemy destroyer around the little bit of cover here. We just saw him pop up in the mini-map, so we need to keep this guy in mind, right? And in fact, Brain Cage was telling me, Thotgor, just slow it down, let those torpedoes pass just in case there's an enemy destroyer, and that's exactly what I was doing and why I had slowed down so much. Now, though, that I'm out in the open, I do need to bring the ship up to full speed, right? I need full speed so I can get good maneuverability going on here, so that I'm really able to effectively fire my guns and avoid shots, right? So I'm at full speed now. We can see that the battleships that I was escorting, Brain Cage at the very least, is in here with me now as well, and then our other battleship is in the background providing long-range support, so that is fantastic. We still have 2 of our destroyers up, so that is good, and we can see that those destroyers have retreated and they're back down here, they're over here with us at A. Now, luckily for us, the Cleveland, who was capping B, we managed to put enough fire into that Cleveland to, make him leave B. So B is still under our control at this point in time, but the enemies are going to change that here quickly. You'll notice as well in the minimap that we have a destroyer. One of our allied destroyers is actually hunting down the enemy destroyer who is over here on the west side of the map, because this guy, we don't exactly know where he is, and he can actually be a pretty big threat to us, especially if, he's able to get some stealth torpedoes off. And in fact, the enemy destroyer just pops up, and you can see our destroyer immediately starts engaging him, so that's great. I'm circling back around. I'm not leaving the battleships alone. There is still the aircraft carrier out there, right? So we're going to circle back around, help this guy out. We can see that we do have enemy destroyer popping up as well, and you can see that the enemies are actually engaging the battleships now as well. So I mean, that's not bad. That's what you want. You want the enemies to engage your battleships, obviously, but I need to stick around the battleships to make sure that at least the one battleship I have here in B with me, to make sure that this guy is safe, that we're not going to let aircraft get in. But you can also see, right, the poor armor of the Cleveland. You're not able to take very many hits. And actually, we were talking about that last night, saying how some people just get so freaked out over the Cleveland. The Cleveland is OP, all this crap. Saying that you just can't citadel a Cleveland, blah blah blah. I don't know where those people are getting that. I have no idea. I mean, in my opinion, the Cleveland is still a great ship. I still love the Cleveland, not a problem there at all. But not being able to citadel her is boggles my mind. I mean, I find that the Cleveland has very little armor, and if a few battleships decide to take me out, there's nothing that I can do about it. Basically, nothing at all. Anyway, our hold on B is now secure, so we're now going to, or sorry, the hold on A is secure, so we're actually going to be pushing over here to B to see what more we can do. You can see I do have my battleships moving up with me, so I'm moving up with them. We were shooting down some planes, so that is fantastic. We were able to protect the battleships in that sense. Now really at this point in time, especially given the points, right, 657 to 187, it's just a matter of time. And this is something else we were doing, not on this map, not on Fault Line where there's only the 2 cap points, but on Straight where there were 3 cap points. That's what we would do. We would go in, we take the middle cap point, we take the point behind it, and then we would just sit back. Just sit back, let the enemies come to us, see what they do, and you know, push from there, right? Because once you have 2 of the 3 cap points, you don't need to push anymore. There's no need for it. Even if the enemy's in a full retreat, just let them run away. Stick back, keep your 2 points, let the 2 cap points, let those points run up, and eventually you're going to get the victory. So moving out from cover, we saw the Warspite over there, so I immediately start putting shots into this guy. I am pretty afraid of this Warspite because, you know, the Warspite can definitely just swipe me off the map if I'm given a nice broadside like I am right now. You know, not going to be an issue for the Warspite. Saving grace for me here against the Warspite, though, is that I have my battleship there, right? So the battleship's taking a lot of heat for me, which is fantastic. And in turn, I'm shooting down a lot of those planes for the battleship, right? You can see a few torpedo bombers did get off, and unfortunately one of those torpedoes does end up hitting our battleship. But the dive bombers that are overhead, I'm engaging those feverishly, right? Trying to get those guys gone, and in fact, my AA fire was enough that the bombs that went into the battleship didn't actually, or sorry, all missed and didn't actually end up doing any damage. So that's pretty fantastic. So now we can see the enemy aircraft carrier. It's an Independence off in the distance, so immediately start putting fire into this guy because he's within my range. The enemies only have 3 ships remaining, so they only have 2 battleships and the 1 aircraft carrier remaining. And surprisingly enough, I mean, for all of us who were playing until Darren popped in with his aircraft carrier, we couldn't believe that we were actually doing this well without any sort of aircraft carrier, because you would think that the aircraft carrier is really required, but you know, by looking at these battles that we're taking a look at today in this video, you can see that if you're actually coordinated enough in your team, remember, I mean, I know you're not listening to what's going on here, but if you recall, if you actually watched the stream last night, you would know that in chat, or sorry, over TeamSpeak, you know, we're calling out targets, focusing fire on targets, and you know, basic plan here at the beginning, right? We'll send these guys to this point, the rest go to that point, that sort of stuff. So we're just basic planning in order to get these victories here, and that's something really important that you want to consider. I mean, if you're playing team battles just to have fun, yeah, you don't necessarily need to plan it out, right? Unless planning it out is fun for you. But if you're playing team battles to actually, you know, get up in the ranks and try and get your team to victory here, you definitely want to have a little bit of a talk about your strategy at the beginning of the battle before it begins, so that everyone knows where they're going. And then on top of that, during the battle, you want to be calling targets to focus fire on, right? Very important that you do this. And something I'll say as well, because it came across before when I was doing skirmishes with the clan, you know, you call out a target for everyone to focus on. Well, some people aren't actually able to get shots off at that target, and then what they would do is they would just then not fire the guns. They're able to fire at other targets, but because, say, the Fuso was called and they don't have a shot on it, they're just going to hold off and not fire guns. Don't do that. You know, focus fire on the targets that are called if you have the shot. If not, take shots of opportunity. Shoot at something else if you have the shot. Why not? And the battle is over, and we have won. Now, moving into the next clip, the last clip for today's video, you can see we are on Straight. I believe we still have the same people. Yes, Darren, I have the replays with Darren in here as well, so maybe we'll take a look at those another day. But for today, we'll take a look at this battle on Straight. So just like I was talking about, and you know, when we're on Straight and you've got the 3 points, you're going to see what we do here. So immediately we've got all of our ships heading to B. We send 1 destroyer. I think it's 1 destroyer. We might actually send the Oba, but we send 1 ship anyway to take C. Our big push is for B, right? We want to be able to take B, control B, and then in turn we'll also take C with the one ship going over there to C, and then we're going to control both cap points on the map here and just be able to play a nice easy battle, let the enemies come to us, and that's about it, the victory, because we're going to easily be able to get those guys gone. Once again, with no aircraft carrier, my job is to stick with the battleships, right? Provide them the AA support that they need, because the Fuso does have AA guns. They're not so bad, but definitely you want to have a cruiser escort just to make sure that any enemy planes that do get through are going to either get just completely shot down out of the sky, or just rattle enough that their aim is so off that they're not actually going to be able to hit, or if they do hit, it's only maybe one hit and the rest miss, right? That is what we're hoping for. So you can see the strategy at play. We've got one destroyer going to C to cap C. The rest of us are on our way to B. Now, even though the rest of us are on our way to B, doesn't mean that we're actually going to go into B and hold it, right? That is the job of the destroyers. The destroyers are going to stay in B, put pressure on B, and hold that point, make sure we keep it. The larger ships, like myself, and the battleships, our job is to support from the rear, right? Just rain shells in, as basically at our max range or thereabouts. Well, at my max range anyway, right? 14 kilometers on the Cleveland now without the advanced firing training. Well, since they changed the advanced firing training, but anyway, that doesn't matter. So that's basically what I'm doing right now. The battleships, obviously, the Fusos have a much longer range. They've got scout planes, so they're able to shoot way across the map, but I'm only concerned with aircraft and any ships that get close enough within my range. So you can see immediately we start focusing down the Cleveland. This is our biggest threat right now. We want to get the Cleveland gone. Cleveland pops out of sight, but we know that he just took a big hit because we saw some of those salvos going in. Kudos to our battleship drivers, Hellish Yoda, Brain Cage, and I think Ogisms played battleships later on as well. Those guys were so great at just eliminating targets. It was spectacular to see. It saved me a few times too, because especially as we went on, the night went on, and we talked about before, we start getting more and more points, coming across more and more skilled teams. The teams would see me and they would destroy me right away. First target to go, gone. Now, to be fair as well, I made some stupid mistakes, right? I wasn't necessarily paying attention, but it was fairly tragic. Anyway, the Cleveland is back within my range. I've slowed down to a quarter speed here just so I can get as many shots into the Cleveland as I possibly can, and let my battleships catch up a little more. You can see the strategy of taking B first and then putting the larger ships in behind B to support it. Sending one ship to take C is working amazingly well for us, right? The enemies have managed to take A, but they are not close to taking B whatsoever. We even have one of our destroyers pushing up that east side there, right, to circle in behind the enemies as well, just to make sure that the enemies didn't send a lone destroyer down there to wreak havoc behind our lines. And you can see, in fact, on the minimap there, right, that one of the enemy destroyers had that idea, but luckily we were able to cut that guy off, and in fact we're engaging him right now and he will soon be dead. Fantastic. So we managed to take out one of the Cleveland, so that is not too bad at all. We're now focusing down the other Cleveland, who is almost gone. We can see, he's on fire. He's got very little health remaining. One more salvo from any one of us here, and this guy is going to be finished off. We won't have to worry about him anymore. Then it will just be a matter of focusing down the battleships. So there we go. I managed to kill the Cleveland, or rather I just, got the last shot in the Cleveland, finished him off. Now we are switching over to the New Mexico. So even now, you can see that the enemies never even get close to actually pushing into B and taking B, right? This is the value of taking the middle cap first and positioning your large ships behind it to provide the support, right, for the destroyers. That is what we're doing. Our two destroyers just basically sat in B the whole time. Obviously they're firing their guns and torpedoes as they reload. But that is basically all we had them do. We have one enemy destroyer remaining, and we can see him way off, one enemy destroyer remaining, and he's still over here with us because we can see some of those torpedoes coming in. The enemy destroyer that was going to come down the east side of the map there is now dead, and our destroyer is back there in the corner, battling it out with the aircraft carrier. So fantastic. So now we don't even have to worry about aircraft coming in, because all of those aircraft are going to be devoted to trying to take out that destroyer. So excellent. So still moving around, we can see my battleships over there. I'm still keeping them close to the battleships here, just in case the enemy carrier does decide to send off some planes our way. But basically all we're doing is just keeping up the fire on the New Mexico, right? My goal here is just to keep him on fire, so that, you know, he's always losing health, and then I'm counting on the battleships to do the majority of the damage here to these guys. And you know, that's fairly typical. You can't really, well, one-on-one, I'm pretty sure Cleveland could take on a New Mexico in the right circumstances and with the right captain. But you know, that's not what I'm looking to do. I'm not taking big chances here, just supporting the team. And that's the whole idea behind team battles, right? We talked about it before, and you know, all of us are loving these team battles just because it gives the right amount of competitive play with teamwork, right? It's very, very fun in that manner. Now, right now, I know our team battles are at tier 6, but much like ranked battles, team battles are going to go through changes, right? And these team battles will eventually be up to tier 8, I believe. So there we go. Last few salvos go into the New Mexico, and he's gone. We managed to finish him off, so fantastic. We only have the Fuso, the enemy destroyer, and the enemy aircraft carrier remaining, and then this battle is ours. But realistically, all we have to do maybe is kill 1-2 enemy ships, and we're going to win by points anyway. So you can see that I'm moving up. I'm taking a few more chances now against this enemy Fuso. The Fuso is firing at me, obviously. You know, fairly big threat for him here. But I can see his shots coming in, right? I wasn't going to stick around, let those shots hit me in the broadside. No. My battleships are also working over this enemy Fuso, which is fantastic. One of the battleships got a nice salvo into him, managed to citadel, and brought the Fuso down to half health. So my shots go in, set the Fuso on fire, which is fantastic, and I'm just turning back around to circle in behind my battleships now. No need to you know, close the distance on this Fuso here, especially since he's still within my firing range. I mean, once I get myself turned around again, I'll be able to put more shots into him, avoid all of those shots, which was pretty fantastic. There is the last enemy destroyer finally popped up. You can see that our destroyer is hunting him down, and you know, immediately started to engage him. In the meantime, we're still focused on the Fuso. We can see that my allied destroyer way up there in the northeast has taken out the enemy aircraft carrier, so kudos to you. Enemy aircraft carrier is now gone. We don't have to worry about enemy aircraft coming in anymore. It's done. So at this point in time, it's just a matter of circling around, keeping with the battleships. Again, I don't want to, you know, overextend myself or get too far from my heavy support here, and we're going to start focusing down this Fuso. Now, in terms of the overall points, right, we're at about 800, well, 904 now, and the enemies are at 196, so things aren't going so great for them. If we can just take out the Fuso and the enemy destroyer, then we're going to have victory here. But yeah, I mean, with the points themselves, we only really have to take out one of these enemy ships, and then, you know, they're out. We're going to win. So not too shabby at all. We can see the enemy destroyer off in the distance being engaged by my friendly destroyer. Torpedoes went out, narrowly avoided that enemy destroyer. But again, you can see, yeah, Japanese destroyers probably aren't the best for team battles. Not at the tier 6, right? You get your Mitsuki, I'm sure the Kamikaze are, and the Fujin, but still not, you know, totally effective. You really want to have the gun power, right? Like Gremyashki, Farragut, Ashland, you know, something along those lines. Anyway, victory is ours, so fantastic. Not too shabby at all. So that is today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it and did get a chance to watch the stream last night. If not, keep in mind it runs every Friday from 7 p.m. Eastern till 9 p.m. Eastern, but typically we do end up going till 10 p.m. Eastern. If you find us and you win, you will get 500 gold. If you find us and you lose, you will get 250 gold. If you are streaming the battle, send a message to Nico Power on the forums with your VOD and the time of the battle, and you will get double the gold. So as always, folks, hit the old like button if you did like today's video. Hit subscribe if you are not a subscriber. Leave any comments you have for me in the video comment section below. Love reading those and responding back to them. And as always, I do hope you enjoy the rest of your day.